What is up, guys? We are back with another Aperture gaming video, and in today's video we are going to be talking about how to maximize your frames per second in Rainbow Six Siege while still retaining good quality gameplay. So, getting right into this video, for your overall quality, I have that as custom, and then on my graphics, or on my display, I have it set as my exact monitor's its exact resolution. So you're going to want to do that. Just make sure it is the exact resolution of your monitor. And then for texture quality, I have mine on high. I don't have it on the ultra. I feel like high looks good and still gives me a good FPS. And then for the texture filtering, I have it on the max, so I don't think this really affects FPS, or at least it doesn't for me. And then for the LOD quality, this I just have set at the middle. And then for shading, shadow, and reflection, I have these all low, because I find they don't matter too much, and they improve performance by a lot. And then for the ambient occlusion, I have it on HBAO. This is like the max. And then I have blooms and lens flare on. And then for zoom in, depth of field, I have that as on. And then for anti-aliasing, I have that set as off. And then the biggest thing that you have to do is make sure you have it set to full screen. If you don't have it set to full screen, you will literally lose, like, I lost 30 frames when I change it to borderless or the windowed. Just make sure you have it on full screen. And then I have my refresh rate set exactly to my monitor's refresh rate. This is what you're going to want to do. And then for your Vsync, this is pretty important. So I have a monitor of a 144 Hertz. And when I set it to Vsync at 1 frame, this will cap out my frames at 144. This really doesn't matter because I think I get around 130, 120-ish when I'm playing in game max, and then it drops down to like 100, and like explosions and stuff are going on, so I don't really get to 144. But if you have, say, a 60 Hertz monitor, then it will cap at 60. And if you have like a really good PC, that it could go over 60, so that would really limit your frames. And then if you go to 2 frames, then that'll divide it by 2. So if you have a 60 Hertz monitor, it'll cap you at 30 frames. So yeah, that's why I always stick with 1. I could do 2, but I think 1 is good for me. And then I really like a wide field of view, but that's personal preference. And that does impact the performance a bit, as I think it has to like render more stuff, but I'm not really sure. I just like it at the max. And then yeah, that's basically it. Some things you might have to turn down a little bit lower if you have a not as good of a PC, like your texture quality or your LOD. But yeah, now we're going to go into a benchmark to see what I am getting. I think I should get around 100 during like the intense parts of it, but let us see. So yeah, all this really depends heavily on your actual build, and what you're going to want to do, you're going to want to kind of mess with settings and then do this kind of benchmark if it'll actually load. There we go. You're going to want to do this benchmark to see how everything's going, if it's working right. So yeah, it's doing decent. It's not going below 80, but I could turn down a couple things to keep it up higher. But yeah, it's looking pretty good for me. But if you're getting below 60 in like these parts, then I would maybe try to turn down your actual settings, because once you get below 60, things start to get really choppy. I notice even below 80 things kind of get a little bit choppy. But yeah, if you're getting anywhere from on average 60 as the lowest and like above, then you'll be good. So my max is 243 on overall. Average is 97, 99, 84, 89, 107. So yeah, that's looking really good. It's looking perfect for gameplay. So yeah, this is a really good tool to actually help you guys to figure out if certain settings are working and if they're like impacting it a lot. So you can kind of turn up a setting, do the test, turn it back down, and see if it changes it drastically, because it really depends. A lot of this depends on your actual computer and the hardware that you have in it. So I can't tell you exactly what to use because it's very specific to each person, but I can tell you kind of how to do it. This is a really good technique, but one thing, just make sure you have it on full screen. I know I was using the borderless before, but I changed it to full screen and it made huge improvements. So just make sure you have it on full screen, and then yeah, kind of base your setup on my settings, but you don't obviously have to go, and you shouldn't go directly off of what I have, but it is a good idea to kind of base it off of what I got. So yeah, it's kind of, I think if you have, say, a 60 hertz monitor, I would probably go with Vsync, because when you have Vsync off, it's really, there's a lot of tearing and it can get super annoying. But that's kind of personal preference. If you have, say, a super good computer and then only a 60 hertz monitor, you really should get a better monitor, but you might want to turn off Vsync just to get those a lot more frames. But I would really recommend getting a higher hertz monitor if you can go over 60 consistently. But if you can't go over 60 consistently, then one frame Vsync would be fine for you. Yeah, full screen, full screen, full screen. That is what you need to have. It's super, super important that you have full screen on. As here, I'll show you guys. This is borderless. Let me apply that. That was the only thing I changed. Now I'm gonna go benchmark. Watch this. It's going to decrease my results by a lot. It's crazy how much just doing this affects your actual performance in FPS. Yeah, I think it should drop it by, I think, an average of 30 frames. At least that's what I was experiencing when I was in game. When I was like recording while in game, I was getting like 60 frames max. Yeah, now it's like 70. Yeah, it's crazy the difference. It's literally, now it's like a 40 frame difference. This would still be playable and it wouldn't be too bad, but in certain parts, like at this explosion that's about to happen right here, it's gonna drop to like 40 or 30. Oh, I guess it didn't even change, but in a lot of kind of intense parts, it can drop like crazy. So you really need to have that full screen on. Yeah, my minimum FPS has been like, oh, just went to 38. Yeah, that's such a big difference. It's crazy. So yeah, there we go. There's the results. Let's see, down to 70, 70, 64, 69, 73. That's down like 20 frames, like 25. It's crazy. Yeah, those are some pretty revealing results. So, full screen it is. Yeah, that really just kind of, what full screen does is it kind of takes basically every ounce of your computer's power and puts it into the game. It really harnesses all the power that your computer has and focuses it on the game and not other kind of background tasks or just being wasted. It really like pushes your computer, which is very good. And yeah, I hope you guys like this video. I hope it helped you guys out. Make sure to subscribe if it did, and also give it a like and comment on what you want to see next, and I'll see you guys in the next Cybershare Gaming video.